Welcome back to Go Produce My Crew. My name is Big Lou, and this is the podcast and YouTube channel that explores how music industry professionals turn their passions into profit. We are on a massive mission to bring clarity to the music industry, and our goal is to help 1 million music industry professionals live off of their passion. I'm laying down the foundation that I need in order to thrive in the music industry, and I want to help you do the same. This episode is brought to you by thecharts.com. If you're a producer or beat maker looking to build your beat commerce business in less time, thecharts.com can help. With an easy-to-use, mobile-friendly interface and built-in marketing tools, thecharts.com will help you grow your brand, build your fan base, and scale your income. Sign up for free and start selling your beats and instrumentals today on thecharts.com. Today's theme is What's It Take Moving to Canada in the Pursuit of a Career as a Music Artist. Let's go. Originally from London, UK, LTtheMonk fell in love with music at a very young age. Blended with constant exposure to reggae via his Jamaican mother and rock via his Irish father, LT's adventurous love of music and performing on stage would grow only stronger. With a name that announces his meditative dedication to craft, the artist describes himself as London-made, East Coast trained, tribute to both his home city and the New York MCs who inspired him. Since he began rapping seriously at 16, he has carved a reputation as a vibrant and compelling talent who is destined to grow. Go Produce. This is LTtheMonk.
Thank you so much for having me.
It is a pleasure. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to know that we do very much appreciate your time, so let's go ahead and make the most of it and go produce.
Perfect.
All right. Our first segment today is called The Basics. LT, I've seen a couple of your videos, and I know you like to dance, so feel free to join me next time. No pressure.
Okay. Yeah, you did nice head bob.
There you go. Okay, so starting it off nice and strong. What is your first musical memory?
My first musical memory is when I think I was about 5, and me and my mom, we were actually in a dance competition in England. There's these holiday parks called Haven. And so it's a whole load of like holiday trailer parks around England. And when I was around 5, me and my mom, we were at one, and my dad was there as well, but me and my mom were in this dance competition there. And I remember us just dancing all the way through. And then at the end, they came up to us in the middle and they were like, you guys both won the whole dance competition. So we were really proud. And then I was like, man, yeah, I love this. I love dancing. I love dancing to music. I love the whole musical feeling. So yeah, that was the real beginning, I think.
Was it just a taste of victory?
I do love winning as well. I'm a very competitive person. But, we'll say there was some music in there as well.
I can agree with that. And then do you think that, was it perhaps a love of music that your mom had as well that influenced you? Or was it just a random event that you guys both joined?
I'd definitely say, the parental influence as well was huge. Because I think, I remember in the car with my dad, he would play me Bon Jovi cassettes. So even before I wanted to be a rapper, even before I discovered hip hop, I remember writing songs I wanted to be a singer and like having this raspy 6-year-old version of a raspy voice because I thought this is how rock musicians are supposed to sound. And same with my mom as well, her playing reggae. I think just that love of music was constantly there. But then I guess you're always trying to find what your own voice is. So then when I discovered hip hop, that's when I think my mind just suddenly said, okay, this is the way that you're going to express yourself now. And that's when the real love developed.
Yeah. One thing led to another. Beautiful. Yeah. And this experience started off when you were 5 years old. And then I mentioned in the intro that you started taking this more seriously at 16 years old. So it's been a significant part of your whole life. I'm curious to know, what is the first lesson that the industry has taught you being in it?
I think the classic, it takes 10 years to build an overnight success. I think that is the biggest lesson, or the first big lesson. Because I remember around that time when I first started taking rapping seriously, I had a few friends that were musicians as well. And we were so naive, and we just loved music, and we say, okay, so there's this musician that we love, and they're signed to this label. And so it was, I can't remember who we were talking about, but someone was signed to Universal Music. So we thought, yeah, let's just get the bus up to central London, go to Universal Music and ask them for a record deal. And then we go in there and they're like, so who are you? And we're like, oh, I'm a rapper. And they say, okay, well, do you have 100,000 listeners on this? And this is like before streaming as well. So it was like, do you have 100,000 people maybe buying if your mixtape or whatever you're selling? Can you fill out all of these big underground venues in London? So then when we realized that, and that was like 9 years ago. So yeah, it really was that first. It's going to take a long time just to get to when people start to know you. And then from there. So yeah, I think that was the big first lesson.
It's a huge lesson. And a lot of people are very eager for that overnight success, overnight celebrity. But that's very far from it. And something that I like to compare it to for a lot of people getting into this industry as artists, as creatives. Picture an astronaut, right? How much time they've spent working on their craft to maybe be selected to go travel, like it's a lot of effort. And it's the same thing. You've got to hone your craft over time. And if you don't do so consistently, then you won't bear those results that you're so eagerly or not so eagerly pursuing.
Yeah. Oh no. And I think that's is a great point as well. Because I think one thing that I appreciate more and more is just to get to the top of the game. Even if people don't like you, you have to respect that they have a certain level of talent. Because I think just from the consumer perspective, you kind of see it as, this person's trash, this person's garbage, I don't like them, but they've made it there. And it's the same as, people will say, like I've been seeing in the news recently, people were saying that the NBA player Kwame Brown, they were saying that he was a bust. And you have to realize that actually just to make it to the NBA, you're one of the greatest 4,000 or so basketball players to ever have existed in the world. So whatever your career trajectory is in the NBA, you've made it there. You can say, I'm one of that elite group. So yeah, in the same way, it is a lot of honing your craft. And even if someone doesn't like the artist when they're at that level, you have to respect that, yeah, they've worked hard to get there.
Exactly. I agree. Hands down. Final question for this segment is, what is your greatest challenge that you've experienced with or that you are currently experiencing outside of COVID?
I think really just getting people to care. That is the eternal test for a musician. I think anyone that's selling something, that is the eternal test, where people, it might be like Coca-Cola. People might like Coke. People might say, oh, if someone gives it to me, then I'll drink it and it tastes good. But what's the thing that actually makes them go out and buy it and say, oh, this is the brand I'm going to love forever? Same thing as a musician. And it's never a bad thing. It's always just that challenge to think, how do I overcome this? How do I get people to actually care? How will I get 1 million people to care enough to stream my album, to buy my album, to come to the concerts, to buy the merch, to watch the videos, all of that. So I think, yeah, that's the biggest challenge, which is, even after COVID is done, it will still last forever.
It's still ongoing. Attention is so expensive. Have you had any successes throughout COVID, before COVID, after COVID? How do you, what strategies do you use to grab attention?
I think trying to treat every single person as valuable is the way that I best go about it. Because, you'll see like a lot of people will say, oh, I need 1 million views, 1 million followers. And it's kind of treated like it's just this block of 1 million people that they just think will appear, and you can just treat them as one, and that's it. And obviously, when you have 1 million followers, you can talk to them as just one block. But I think you have to see it more as, it's not one group of 1 million people, it's 1 million subsectors of one person and one person. So every single show, every single person that replies to me on Instagram, everyone that sends me any kind of message, anyone that sees me in the street and says, hey, you're the guy that dances in the socks. Hey, you're the guy that does this in videos. I treat it as, yeah, you're a personal person, you're a human person, and I'm going to talk to you, make that real connection. So then when you next see my music, when you next see a video come up, then I think you will actually say, hey, I know that guy, he cared, and I'll go and listen. Yeah.
It means more. You have to build your brand, you have to build yourself as a human, because that's innately how we connect, and then the art is a bonus. It's almost an avenue through which you can communicate on a different level. So I think the approach that you're taking is very wise. That is the basics, LT.
Okay.
All right.
Good round.
Good round. This one is going to be a little bit faster. This one is called the speed round.
Okay.
All right, LT. So I'm going to throw you 20 questions at a rapid rate. You have less than 3 seconds to answer each of the questions. Okay. So it's like fast, and you only can answer them with one word, one, maybe 2 words.
Okay.
We can justify afterwards. Cool?
Okay.
All right. So let's do it. What is your favorite animal or plant?
Turtles.
Twista's Sunshine music video is where your love of hip hop all started.
Yes.
What's your favorite snack?
Doritos.
Who's an artist that you currently find the most exciting?
Michael Jackson.
Canada has more lenient immigration policies.
Yes.
What is your
definitely.
favorite time of day?
Early evening.
At the end of the day, you want a nice big glass of?
Red wine.
You like a good Meghan Markle drama?
No.
Where's your favorite place in the world?
Los Angeles.
Small town or big city?
Big city.
You're the first and only rapper signed to Sonic Union.
I am indeed.
If movie is to watch, then Netflix is to?
Chill.
Do you have any nicknames?
Monk, LT, the.
You capture all of your song ideas as you go on Apple Notes.
Yes.
Do you prefer to read or watch movies or shows?
What shows?
Where's your next vacation spot?
Somewhere in America.
You annotate your own lyrics on Genius.
Yes, I do.
Would you go to the moon?
Yes.
What is your favorite music? Wow. Whoa. What is your favorite music genre?
Hip hop.
How many years have you been at this for?
17.
Sheesh. We made it through. LT. Congratulations.
Okay. Thank you.
I apparently didn't make it through without any scars, but you did. You did perfectly well. Did any of those questions stand out to you?
I really like the animals one.
You want to tell us why you like turtles?
Well, yeah, because I think I always liked the idea of an animal that would live for way longer than me. So if I made a connection with it and it lived for like 150 years, it would kind of be like my generational continuing. So I'd love to have a giant turtle that will live for like 150 years and it will outlive me.
Were you the kid from that meme, the I like turtles kid?
Yeah.
He was the inspiration behind it. That's awesome. Okay, so I also want to ask why you annotate your own lyrics on Genius. What's the point behind that?
Well, I think when I set out as a musician, it was weird. And just as a musician in general, I have some very specific goals. And one of them is I want to be one of the top 5 greatest rappers of all time. And obviously, it's never going to be unanimous because Jay-Z's my favorite rapper ever. I think he's the greatest rapper ever. I know people that don't think he's good. So it's never going to be unanimous, but I think there's always that tier that you'll respect if someone's name is mentioned. So I want to be in that tier. And I think that if people were just going to hear my lyrics on Spotify, they won't, especially because of how much wordplay I use, they won't get everything. So I think, and because it's like Bob Dylan, like my dad thinks Bob Dylan is God, and he has like 100 books just breaking down every single lyric, every single song inspiration, every single girl that was ever on the cover of his album, like all of that is broken down. So in the same way, I think that for my goal, people need to see my lyrics written down as well as hear them, and they need to see all of the wordplay. So if there is a triple entendre, if there is the most complicated piece of wordplay, they can understand it, and then it will contribute to the main goal.
So you got to make the effort, because without the effort, the full art won't be as appreciated as it should be.
Exactly.
Also,
And
go ahead, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, and I really enjoy it as well, because, you know, I write it with this depth. So I would hate for no one to understand.
So who's the guy who keeps walking behind you? Is that your manager? Or?
That's my roommate.
Get him on the shot, because he's been on the show like 7 times.
He's famous.
Yeah. This will be his claim to fame in a few years.
Right. Is he doing that on purpose? Like
wanting
to steal the thunder of the interview?
No, he's just working from home as well right now. So
tell him I send him one of these.
LT, you've met Grumpy Sound Guy, haven't you?
he can't be like the Craver, like he just walks in and out.
Oh,
he just guest stars in some scenes.
Need to get some bass slap sounds for when he walks over.
That's jokes. No, so I do appreciate the effort that you do put in towards actually putting the significance behind your lyrics out there. It's another way to market your material as well. So that's also wise. And before we move on, I just want to say that you are writing triple entendres. I just wanted to take that in. Like that's a level of writing to those people that aren't necessarily aware of rhetorical devices and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that is one of my favorite parts. And I think it's because my favorite rappers like Jay-Z and the greatest ever, I think because they have done these amazing things, I want to be able to compete with that. So when Jay-Z will say something about, comparing cocaine to being white Jesus in his crock pot, and then he said that black Jesus turned water to wine, and all he had to do was turn the stove up so it could turn into crack. I need to rap something of that level with that level of wordplay and, lyrical depth. So that's why in my own lyrics, I try and do stuff like that. And I need people to have it explained so they'll see what I'm doing.
Done. Beautiful. Beautiful. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Our next segment, LT, is called What's Yo Take?
Okay.
Alrighty. So here I'm going to present you different statements or scenarios, and I'm just asking for your perspective. Cool?
Okay. Cool.
So you call yourself the monk. So is there any kind of relationship there?
Yes. So my name originally came from when I was around 16 again, and I was trying to think of what my name should be as a rapper, and I liked my initials, so I wanted to be LT. But then I thought, what can I be? Like LT the something. So then my friends told me that I used to, whenever we were hanging out, I used to sit there and sounded a lot, or tried to, I looked very wise and very chilled, very meditative. So I thought, okay, what job does that? So then I settled on LTtheMonk. But then it wasn't until when I turned 18 and I watched the movie, The 36th Chamber of Shaolin, that inspired Wu-Tang Clan's first album. When I watched that, and then I saw that the monks in the Shaolin Temple, I saw that their kung fu, and kung fu really just means whatever your dedication is, the thing you're most dedicated to in life. Their kung fu was the martial art of kung fu, and it was all about how they practiced that with their monk-like dedication. I still practice
your craft.
Dedication to music, to hip hop, to rapping.
Got you.
Like a monk.
I like it. Okay, so what's your take on escapism in music?
Great question. I feel like I talk about this a lot. I totally agree with escapism in music. So for me, escapism in music isn't about just saying, okay, we're going to ignore all of our problems and we're just going to go listen to some hippie music and pretend that problems don't exist. For me, I think escapism in music is listening to the problems, but imagining that the world can be better for us to deal with the problems. So I completely agree with escapism in music. And I think that my music is very escapist.
All right. Okay. So, what's your take on collaborating with musicians to liven up performances?
100%. I perform with a band when we perform live. We love adding other musicians in. I think they really bring out the performance in my own show, because when I'm dancing, when I'm rapping, when I'm trying to entertain the crowd, then they really bring up the energy. Yeah, definitely agree with collaboration as well.
So, what has been the toughest part transitioning from being a solo act into being a group act? And then I've got a little bit more questions on that.
Okay. I think just being the leader is the big challenge, because I think that, or I know that when I was just performing over instrumentals, it was really just about making sure the instrumental played and then remembering my words and being entertaining. Whereas now it's like leading a basketball team where you're entertaining the crowd, but you know that if you're the point guard, you also have to look at your small forward to make sure that they're playing this or they're going to launch into their next move. And so with us, it will be, are you going to launch into this solo at this time? Or can we take out the drums here? Can we bring them back in here? So it's a lot of communication at the same time as you're also, if I'm looking at the drummer to make sure we're on the same page, then I have to immediately make sure I turn back around to make sure the crowd are still receptive to everything that I'm doing. I think that the band leading was a really great challenge.
What tips or strategies have you applied to yourself to navigate through rocky situations where perhaps you're on stage and something is going wrong?
I think the great thing is, like, there's always stuff that's going wrong. It's just people never know. It's like we played shows where like Lucas's kick drum pedal has just gone, so he's had to switch to. I think there was one time when Santiago actually had to leave the keyboards, go to the drums to fix the kick while Lucas is still playing, and then while all of the musical attention instead went to me and Cam and Cam's the bass player. So no keys, keyboardist is helping the drummer fixing while me and the bass player are going on, and everyone's still like, oh, this show, like, it's so good, it's so interesting. So I think stuff is always going wrong. So
that's the reality of live performances, eh?
Yeah, I think we always just treat it as it's part of the show. And as long as the music's still sounding good, as long as people aren't saying like, what the fuck is this? We're leaving, then we're good.
Then you're good to go. I hear that. I hear that. Okay, awesome. LT, we're moving very nicely through this. Our next segment is called Community Queries.
Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, in Community Queries, I'm going to throw you some questions from fans. They sent in some questions ahead of time, and I've got them here for you. The first question, or the first fan that I have, is Axo. He is an indie artist out in the UK, and this is his question.
Hey, this is Axo, and my question for you is, have you seen any difference between the music scene between London and Ontario? And if so, have you adjusted your musical style to suit the different audiences?
Did you hear that?
Yeah. No, thank you to Axo for asking that question. No, definitely. I think the reason that I came over here, even though I love so much UK rap, is that the hip hop scene in North America is way bigger than it is, and I found way more opportunities than I did over there. So, and even though it's not America, like Canada doesn't have a huge hip hop scene going on, or at least like Hamilton and Toronto. Yeah, and I'm hoping to contribute to that. I still think that the difference has been in being able to find a lot of opportunities as a hip hop artist over here, and to be a part of the Hamilton hip hop scene, and do a load of shows with my band as like representatives of hip hop culture. Whereas when I used to live in London, I didn't feel like there were as many. And then so I guess in terms of adapting my style, it was more really of just feeling freer in who I was as an artist. Because being raised by North American rappers, people would say, "Oh, why do you sound American?" People would say, "Get rid of your American twang." But then it's ironic because now I come over here and I can't go one conversation without people impersonating me and saying, "Oh, you sound so British. That's so fascinating. You're like Hugh Grant." So it's so it's that tough midpoint of how do you be yourself? Like how do you use your natural voice and how you want to rap? But yeah, I feel a lot more free. So yeah, I think the difference between the London scene that I saw when I was growing up and the Ontario scene that I'm experiencing now is just, I feel a real freedom to be who I am with a lot of opportunities as a rapper.
That's huge. That's huge. And it's only going to become more free as the industry grows. And we got this. We're working at it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Axel Hart. You can find him on Instagram at AKSO Hart.
Okay.
All right. Our next fan is Layla. She is a music enthusiast out of London, Ontario.
Hey LT, thanks for answering my question, which is regarding live events. Are there any major differences that you notice here in North America? And is there anything that you wish people would do more or less of at live events here? Thanks.
I don't know if there's really any differences in terms of at the actual live events, because I think the festival scene is some of the best festivals in the world are in England. I can't wait to go and do Glastonbury and Reading and Leeds and all of those. So I'd say it's the same as in North America. But in general, I guess I would just love to see, I'd love to see myself at these festivals. Really, I think so many of the festivals are great. I just can't wait to perform at them.
That's a fair response. I like that. I like that response.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that response. And big shout out to Layla. You can find her on Instagram at LAYLAY. Lele. Our final fan is Stephanie. She is a graphic animator out of London, Ontario.
Like I said in your first question, I think everywhere it's hard to get people to care. So I think in London, I think in Canada, I think in the US, I think everywhere in the world, it's hard to get people to care. But I do feel that in Hamilton, the hip hop community and just actually the whole arts community is so together, so supportive and so well connected that I think if there is a place that one would come to find that camaraderie and support, it would be Hamilton. So I'd say I think it's hard. It was hard in London to get people to care, and it's hard over here to get people to care. But there are so many people that are really supportive of everything I do in Hamilton. And yeah, that gives me all the energy in the world to try and succeed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very cool. Very cool. Nicely said. Thank you once again, Stephanie, for that question. You can find her on Instagram at Stephanie_Nicole_TTEP. Good luck remembering that. I'll add all of those. Yes. Thank you for saying thank you. And I'll add all of those to the show notes as well. Next, we've got Clear the Air. All right, LT. This is our final segment of today's show. What I'm going to be asking you is to bring some clarity to these slightly denser questions.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So we've spoken a lot about your transition from UK to Hamilton. I just want to know a couple of the greatest challenges that you've had from moving countries, and keep it in mind. We want to frame it for other individuals that are trying to do the same. So visa issues. I myself am an immigrant, so like I have a whole struggle with permanent residency. So let's try and frame this answer to people moving here.
I would say that some of the biggest challenges have been coming to a place where no one knows you and building an audience, again, to make people care. I think because I didn't have any family here, didn't have any friends here, but the way that I got around that was just I went to every single event, performed at every single open mic that I could. So I think it's a challenge, but I think as long as you're out there all the time, trying to meet people, trying to connect with people, then I think you can get through it. Yeah, visas always tough.
What did that process look like?
So I'm actually kind of like you right now, trying to get permanent residence, trying not to have to do it through marriage or children. But yeah,
the struggle is real.
Yeah, but it's I mean, it's going well right now. I think especially because of COVID, they want more immigrants. I don't think they hit their immigration quota, so they're looking for more immigrants right now to get permanent residence. So I actually, ironically, I had to take an English test to prove my ability to speak English in about a month. And then hopefully I will be a permanent resident soon. So yeah, that's tough, but having good immigration people that you can
Lawyers?
pay to yeah, or even just the
or advisors.
Yeah, lawyers, like the consultants, the modern jargon of the job market. They good people like that.
Is there like a ballpark figure that all of this has cost you? If it's personal, it's understandable, but just so that other people can get an idea of what kinds of expenses they can run into.
It's in the thousands of pounds.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thankful that I've had family members that have helped me out. Thankful that I've been able to work consistently. Like there's times over the past 3 years I've had like 5 jobs
I
at
hear
once,
that.
just so I can make sure that I can pay rent and pay for all of this stuff. It is
Big sacrifice.
It's difficult. Yeah, it's difficult. It's really a big sacrifice, but if it pays off, then it's a great story.
It's true, and it's worth. I mean, it's worth trying. It's worth trying.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to ask this because the album is coming up a little bit, so I want to ask you to clear the air on how has writing an album itself been different than completing your previous projects?
The goal was just to improve in every single way. So I think it was different just in terms of it being harder. So I wanted to be better lyrically. I wanted to be better instrumentally. I wanted to sing background vocals. I wanted to have my own singing parts. I wanted to make videos that are better. I wanted to dance in all of the videos at a higher level than I ever had before. So I think it's different just because, and I know everyone says, this is the best thing of my career, but this is a level up on everything that I've done before. So yeah, I think that's the main difference. Just setting the challenges of trying to be the best that I've been, make the best music that I can, and then achieving those.
Yes, makes sense. So you didn't start off with album mode. You obviously had smaller projects, I guess not so obvious to other people, but you've had smaller projects, but you still technically consider this to be your first album similar to Chance's Mentality. Can you just shed some light on that briefly?
So I'm just going to pause while my neighbors leave. I don't want any sound to be screwed.
Oh.
Great soundtrack.
Grumpy sound guy has been keeping busy.
Well, good that my Kramer reference worked because you had the Seinfeld.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's say I had it, and let's say I didn't have to Google it for like 20 minutes.
It's jokes.
Yeah. So in the same way, for me, I had a project from 2015 called Monk in London. That was the first time I ever put an album out on streaming services or ever put a full project on streaming services and put it on iTunes. So for me, that counted. It is the literal definition of an album. But then it was when absolutely nobody knew who I was, and there wasn't many listeners there. So then in 2019, when I came here and I made King Strings and Hip Hop, then that felt like a first album, because this is, oh wait, there's people who are paying attention to me now, and I'm going to go perform this album consistently for over a year, and it's going to take me to all of these different opportunities. But then now, this is my first album ever to be put out by a record label. This is the first album that ever has a publicist and a radio team and all of these different industry people attached to it. So it feels like a first album in that sense.
Super exciting to have all those moving parts coming together. The support, the funding, it must do a lot for your confidence, eh?
Yeah. Well, I love the pressure. Have you ever seen The Last Dance on Netflix? The Jordan. Yeah, I love watching that and thinking, oh yeah, like you're leading the team here. You're LT. You're the Michael Jordan of the group. Yeah, you have to make sure that Scotty and Dennis Rodman are performing at their best level and everyone's doing their parts. Because even though everyone goes off and they do their own amazing things that have nothing to do with me, because I'm not contacting all of these people, I'm very grateful. It's all for me. It's all for the LTtheMonk name and music and brand. So yeah, I have to make sure that as LT, I have to be at my best. I have to be leading the team. And yeah, it really inspires me that I have to keep this up with good music. Because at the end of the day, my one job in life is, can you write a good song? And
it all starts there.
So yeah.
It all starts there.
Yeah.
Beautiful. LT, on the album, you've got a little bit of a release strategy that is, I think, quite wise. Can you just share some light around how you came up with this in maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and then we can begin to wrap up?
It was really to do with the new mode of consuming music, because the streaming algorithms and the playlist generation, it really is all about a constant stream of music. So, because the goal of Spotify is that you're never going to leave the app. So if I start off with one song from Jay-Z, then it's going to take me to another Kanye song that I like, then it's going to take me to a Drake song that I like, then it's going to put in a new Canadian rapper that I don't know, and then try and get me to like that song. So then I'll keep listening there, and then I'll go in that direction, and it might bring me back. But either way, it's all about a continuous stream. So I think us putting out all of these songs beforehand is just so there's as much of my music in that stream as possible. But yeah, it means you're covering those bases as well of keeping people listening, trying to get into the streaming algorithms.
That's what you got to do.
And yeah, making it live for as long as possible.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I was reading up on it or up on you, and I saw that this strategy was being implemented. And I feel like a lot of artists out there don't necessarily realize how valuable marketing each piece of their product or their project goes. Even within each of the songs, you can break it down into different pieces in itself. And if you don't do these things, you're just not making the most of what you have out of all the effort that you've already put in. So I just wanted to dig in there, and you did phenomenally answering that. That being said, you're welcome, LT. Do you have any final words that you'd like to share with us?
I'm really excited for everyone to see and hear my new single, Devante, which is coming out on June 4th. And yeah, I really hope people enjoy that. I think that is everything I want to do and everything I want to be as a musician in one song and music video. I wrote it, I rapped it, I sang it, I danced it, I performed it, I arranged it. Everything that I want to be as a musician is in it. It's inspired by Jodeci, it's inspired by New Edition, it's inspired by all of my favorite rappers, all of my favorite music. So yeah, I think if people want to know me as a musician, then that's the song to go to. So I really hope people enjoy that, and that'll be out Friday, June 4th.
Devante, that embodies a whole lot. I really like how you described it. I will definitely be checking it out.
Thank you.
Where can our listeners find you?
You can find me, LTtheMonk, one word, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, every streaming service, every social media. I'm there, all as LTtheMonk. And I stress that it's one word because a lot of people spell it as 3 words, and it kind of ruins the Google searches or ruins the search results, because I want everything to go to my true name so people can actually see everything that I release. So yeah, LTtheMonk, all one word, everywhere that you listen to music.
Boom. I will make sure to share that as well.
Thank
you so much, LT.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you. Peace.
This episode is brought to you by thecharts.com. If you're a producer or beat maker looking to build your beat commerce business in less time, thecharts.com can help. Remember that you can sign up for free and start selling your beats and instrumentals today at thecharts.com. Big shout out to all parties involved. You can find more value at our website at goproduce.ca. Connect with me on Instagram at go.produce. If you're on YouTube, hit subscribe. If you're on Apple or Spotify, make sure to hit download. This will really help us grow our community. I'm Big Lou, and this is Go Produce.